Hi there, my name is Lauren McKinley and I work at the Art Gallery of Ontario. Today we're going to be painting a skyscape and it's based on a sunset. So I hope you'll join me. All right, so the first thing I like to do is I like to block out where everything is going to go. And I just do it with a pencil really lightly. It's not hard and fast rules. Sometimes there's a bit of a change as you're painting. Sometimes you eliminate as you're drawing. It's just to kind of get things sort of in the right place. Okay, once you've drawn it out, then you can start with paint. I like to start with the light colors. Today what I'm using is a lemon yellow with a bit of white, titanium white in there, just to make it a little bit more opaque. And I'm just using a number 10 Talcian round brush, which is really soft, to make it nice and smooth. And I'm not worrying too much about getting it exactly in the right spot. It's okay if it goes over the pencil lines because I've got darker colors that are going to cover up any of my mistakes I might have. So when you're doing this, this is just straight painting, but I want to have enough paint on my brush and on the surface so that if I add another color on top, it winds up blending in nicely. And I'm working it quite quickly because I do want it to become a graduated blend. So I've got my yellow down. Now I'm going to move into my orange. And this is just a permanent orange that has a little bit of white in it. And that's mostly just to make it a little bit more opaque and to help lose some of the lines. And so I'm going to do all that orange first just to get it out of the way. It's sort of the next lightest color. It's not completely covering up those lines, but I'm not too worried about it because Turner was all about drawing it in first in pencil, and if you saw it, he just said it was part of the art. So I agree with him on that one. And as this is a quick study, it's not the end of the world if you can see the lines. Okay, so instead of rinsing, I'm just going to go straight into putting a little bit of magenta down in here. I actually like my colors to be pretty vibrant. So this has a tiny little bit of white in it, but not a lot. And now what I'm doing is what's called a graduated blend, just to get the colors moving so that they're not all one band versus another band of color. And now I'm going to move into adding a little bit into this area in the corner here, and I'm going to put in a little bit of violet that is basically a diazonine purple with a tiny little bit of white in there. Okay, now I'm going to rinse and I'm going to move into using the blues. And I've got two blues. I've got a white, titanium white with some cobalt, and I just want to block in this cloud so that I can kind of cover up some of the pencil lines since I didn't really follow it very well. And I want to try and avoid making green. Although Monet had green in his paintings, I'm sure it annoyed him. He was using oil paint and it takes a long time to dry. This is pretty quick. And that's partly why I did the yellow first, so it has a chance to kind of stiffen up a bit. So I'm still basically kind of blocking in just to get the basics of the main colors. Now I'm going to move into doing a little bit of fine tuning, trying to get some detail work in there. So I'm not going to rinse, but I am going to use a darker blue to try and get a little bit more volume in this cloud area. And it's blending in with the color underneath quite nicely. And then I want to go with a smaller brush. This is still a Talcian round, but it's a number 2, I think. And what I want to do is I want to put in a little bit more purple in this area, just to make it a little bit more voluminous. I think I want to put a little bit more purple down in here, just to give it a little bit more vibrancy. And I want to get some of this blue and purple together, just to make it a little bit darker. And I'm just going to stick a little bit more of that in here. I find that 3 layers of color make good volume in an area. There's just one last little bit I wanted to add in, which is some of these details of orange, just kind of in here. Some little whispers, but I wanted them to be just a little bit darker. Put just a little bit of magenta in there so that the sky is kind of representative in all areas. Okay, and that's our sunset. And all you're doing is just taking off that border, and then you have this more finished edge. That's kind of a nice finisher. And voila!